All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's week 10 and the Jets are on primetime again this week, Sunday Night Football against the 4-5 Raiders. Another huge game for this Jets squad and frankly Vegas too. To me right now, this game feels like there's so much pressure on Saleh, so much pressure on Hackett, so much pressure on Zach Wilson, on the offensive line, really the offense as a whole, the Alan Lazards of the world, the CJ Uzamas of the world, right? Just guys that were coming up short last week. The offense, I don't want to keep, harping on it too much. Everybody knows that the offense is a complete mess. Whether it's offensive line, whether it's injury, whether it's quarterback play calling, system, personnel decisions, dropped passes, penalties, the list goes on. It's just a chaotic mess, to be honest with you, and it sucks, right? It sucks to sit here and say that as a fan. It sucks for the defense to go out there and play literally like a top 10 defense. Almost seemingly every single week, being able to handle Josh Allen, handle Jalen Hurts, handle Patrick Mahomes, right? Handle Justin Herbert. 16 of 30, 130-something yards, no touchdowns, and we lose 20-something to 6. Are you kidding me? It sucks for the defense, right? So will the offense show any sort of life, any sort of improvement this week against, a pretty aggressive Raiders defense? It's not like they're one of the best defenses in football, but they have a lot of really talented players. They have a lot of veterans all over, and they actually have a lot of underrated pass rushers. That's not just Crosby. Crosby's one of my favorite players, but it's not just him. They have some interior pass rushers as well. And you look at how this team is playing under Antonio Pierce. Granted, it's only one game. Completely understand that, but I'm actually sitting here right now saying that Robert Saleh should take a page out of the Antonio Pierce book for the Jets to, not only just be doing this week to week, but for them to almost be fine with it, right? I know we're listening to Hackett in these press conferences, Robert Saleh in these press conferences, and, they give the coach speak cliche answers. We're frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. The fans are frustrated, but we're even more frustrated, and we're trying to turn it around. I mean, it's week 10. We got to turn it around at some point, and if it's not pretty soon, as a fan, you just don't know if it's ever going to come. So I think for me, the most infuriating thing is not necessarily the team rankings, not necessarily the eye test, right? Watching the offense, not necessarily the overall statistics or anything like that. It's the fact that we're in this position, but it doesn't really seem like there's any sort of change, fire, any sort of urgency to get out of this situation. And the reason why I really feel like it's relevant to talk about Antonio Pierce here, he took over a Raiders squad, which at the time was a 3-5 team, and it was frankly a mess under Josh McDaniels. It was, on multiple different fronts, right? McDaniels struggled. Players knew it, other coaches in-house knew it, teams around the league knew it, insiders knew it, and they not only just let McDaniels go, but also Dave Ziegler. So if you guys checked out Antonio Pierce's interim opening press conference, which was awesome, by the way, and even in like the post-game locker room speech, the post-game presser, Pierce, let's first talk about that intro presser. It was flat out awesome. And I loved, by the way, I am not a fan of the Giants at all, but I loved Antonio as a player. So much fun to watch. Just a hard-nosed, fast linebacker. Loved his play. He came in and instantly brought accountability, instantly made changes, instantly looked at every single thing that was going wrong with the Raiders and said, you know what, no, we're not doing it this way. It was not working under Josh McDaniels. It's not going to fly. This is my team now. I'm going to run this team how I want to run it. And in these areas that we're struggling, in these different, categories and whatnot, these different complaints that, players and fans have, we're going to address them. We're going to make changes. And that's exactly what happened. And you, again, instantly saw the players respond. He's literally, and look, I'm not saying Antonio Pierce is a top 10 coach or anything like that. He's literally coached one game as an interim, but you saw how the players responded. You saw how much volume Josh Jacobs got in that first game, which was needed, by the way. You saw the final score, right? What was the final score of that Giant game? 30-6? Vegas absolutely dominated the New York Giants on multiple fronts. You could see the players gravitating towards Pierce, right? And I think, part of that is because he is a former player and he was a great player. But I think the message that he sent in that opening interim press conference was, I care about every single player in this locker room, every single coach in this locker room. We're going to do what's best for the Las Vegas Raiders as a team. We're going to put the names aside. We're going to put the egos aside. We're going to put the contracts aside. We're going to play the best players. The players that want to play, the players that deserve to be out there are going to be out there. Aiden O'Connell, the rookie, he's looked like the best QB in practice. He's our starting quarterback. No questions asked. Jimmy Garoppolo is getting paid more. He's the veteran. No. Aiden, it's AOC. He's the guy. So you compare that situation to what the Jets are going through right now, where, again, the offensive line, the QB play, the play calling, and it's just like, we're going to get it figured out. We're going to get it figured out. We're going to get it figured out week after week after week. At what point, it's my biggest fear, at what point does Mosley, does Quinnen, does Sauce, does DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead, whoever, Quincy Williams, whoever you want to throw out, at what point do they say, you know what, coach, what happened? We're playing like an elite unit. Where is the accountability for the offensive side of the football? I think that was, one of the, in the end, one of the reasons why Todd Bowles got let go was just because there was no input offensively. We constantly ran through different offensive coordinators. There wasn't any sort of development of a younger quarterback. I understand that the plan wasn't to roll with Zach this season. It was for Rodgers. But to me, if your quarterback gets hurt 4 plays into the season, you have to adjust. This is the National Football League. You don't just get a 17-game pass because your starting quarterback gets hurt. So with that said, it does seem like there's so much negativity right now surrounding this offense, but here's the deal. Here's the reality of the situation. If the Jets go out there and not only just win Sunday night against, Vegas, but they actually take steps in the right direction. Maybe Zach has a better game. Maybe the offensive line is, just looking like a wall out there. They're handling Crosby. They're winning one-on-one matchups. They're not being flagged. The play calls are a little bit more creative. Just things are working in the Jets' favor. They can maybe expose some weaknesses of the Raiders' defense. We're 5-4 with another AFC win under our belt. I mean, if you were to act, that's a great position to be in. We have to get wins where we can take them, but this game definitely does feel like it's kind of a tipping point, right? Where it's like, if we lose and the offense continues to struggle, right? Same stuff. We're down 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. We are 3 of 12 on third downs. We're flagged 6 times. Things are not going to go well. They're not going to go well. But we have a chance to flip the script, right? To turn the tables on the situation. So will they do it? I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know. I hope they do. But I think when we look at the Jets offense, I feel like a broken record. We all know what the problem is, right? Every single preview video, it's like, can we get better on third downs? Can we get better in, the same areas? I think specifically, though, when we're talking about the Raiders, we have to make sure that it starts up front, right? I think when we look at the numbers, when we look at how the Raiders do perform against the running game, they aren't the best. This could be a game where Breece Hall has a big day, where he gets a lot of volume, 20+ carries. I would really, really like, or if it's not 20+, maybe it's dispersed between Michael Carter and Dalvin Cook. Obviously, I have a lot more faith in Breece Hall compared to Cook at this point in time, but I think this could be the game where the Jets maybe start establishing a running attack. I think that would be huge. It would be absolutely huge. Now, if not, and they come out throwing and, trying to do the 3-yard pass and the screens and the slants and stuff, the swing passes out of the backfield, we just have to make sure that Wilson is getting the football out of his hands, because these pass rushers for the Raiders are no joke. You look at the Jets offensive line, what a surprise. We have another story today, or another report coming out saying that Billy Turner, who did not look all that great last week against the Chargers, he got hurt and is going to have surgery on his finger. Dwayne Brown has had full practices, but he's going to miss another week. So I couldn't tell you who's going to be the starting 5 this week. I hate being in this position, but again, it's just the reality that we're in. As far as the defense goes, though, this is where I feel like we could really win this game from the defense side of the football. I think when we talk about, rookie quarterback and Aiden O'Connell, who doesn't really have much mobility, much of an explosive, he doesn't really bring that explosive threat with his legs, if we can keep him inside the pocket with that 4-3 defense and limit him from stepping up, force him to move backwards or throw off of his back foot, I think we could really, really make a lot of plays, a lot of turnovers, especially with having, the athletes, DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Tony Adams, all these guys dropping back into zone coverage. I'm really, really looking out for the short passing game here. That's kind of been the MO with Aiden O'Connell so far. And granted, he's looked really, really solid for a mid-round rookie QB here. I'm a big fan of his game. Kind of reminds me of Nick Foles a little bit. But in any case, I think the 4-3, if we can get home with our 4-down lineman, keep him in the pocket and collapse it on top of him. Granted, he does have the height and arm strength to, look above the offensive line and, continue to throw darts. But if we can get home, and our pass rushers definitely have the ability to do that, if we can go out there and execute in that area, I really feel like our corners, our linebackers, our safeties can make plays with the football in the air, dropping back into zone coverage, or at least, having that instinctual explosiveness to come up and limit passing plays. I also feel like Josh Jacobs is going to get another big dose. This week, the Jets have actually struggled pretty. They're not the best team against the run. The numbers aren't that great. They're down in like the mid to late 20s in a lot of different categories. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of the game plan coming out. Get O'Connell comfortable by handing the football off to Jacobs, maybe 15 to 20 carries, maybe even more by the end of the game. Assuming that the score is, right around the same mark, like one possession game, that type of thing. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. How much faith do you have in this Jets team to get to 5-4? I mean, that is a good record when it's all said and done, right? Like despite the offensive struggles and whatnot, and again, we have an opportunity to flip the script here. If we can get to 5-4, I'm at the point where it's just like, we got to win these football games. We have to do whatever it takes. If the offense is struggling, we have to find another way to win, and that's not, I'm almost at my limit with Saleh and Hackett and just the continuation of doing the same thing over and over. So we'll see if anything changes this week. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.